Hello everybody and welcome to the Infinite Creativity Sabsang with 𝗏𝗏 in Paris. That's me. And we can do a mixture of creative exploration, as it says on the label, transformational coaching, or self-inquiry, or a big mixture of all of it. So looking into creativity. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to show you my face. My face looks like this today. Yeah, so we can do a mixture of stuff. Basically, it's all about creativity. I just want to talk about creativity for an hour or so and see what happens, with my objective being to show you me expressing my creative self and see you expressing your creative self, or yeah, you know, inspire you to be as creative as you would love to be. That's the point of this show. So it's all about creativity. It doesn't matter what sort of creativity, but just being as creative as we can, with no embarrassment, no excuses, just getting it out there. Because I think that when you're creative on a regular basis, it's a wonderful way to lead a worthwhile, fulfilling and generous, enriching life. That's what I think. That's what I've nailed my colours to the mast on. So that's what I encourage people to do. Creativity is a funny thing. Creativity, productivity, having ideas. Where do ideas come from? Getting them out there, starting projects, continuing with projects even when you don't feel like continuing, and finishing projects. That's not so easy either. So that's all part of what we can discuss here. If you're watching, then say hello. It would be nice to see you. If you're watching the replay, you can say hello too, and I'll still see your messages. And yeah, so I've been went about 9 minutes late because I had a slight technical problem, but that happens, and we'll see how it goes from here. So I actually did something a little bit different last week. I'm going to share my screen with you here. I put this question in some of my groups: the Creative Smartphone Photography group, the Creative Blog and Article Writing group, and the Today's the Day group, and probably the Infinite Creativity Now group as well. So I put them in all my four groups, my four main groups, to see what you would come up with. And it was about what questions would you come up with about creativity. If you had one question about being more creative with your photos, what would it be? And this one was, if you had one question about being more creative with your writing, what would it be? In the Infinite Creativity Now, if you had one question about being more creative or productive, what would it be? And I think in Today's the Day, I didn't even get to it. I can't find it. I think I did put it in there, but I really can't chug down to find it. Here we go, found it. And there are quite a few comments. So what I thought I would do tonight is focus on this, focus on what you've written there, so that we can really get some good discussion going, even though it's just me amongst myself. But the objective is that you chip in, you comment, you ask questions as I'm talking about this stuff, and we get a kind of discussion going. So if you want a discussion face to face, I've got two things where you can do that now. One is on a Monday, and one is on a Friday. The idea is, in the spirit of creativity, the idea is that you ask, on the Monday, you come on the show. It's a face-to-face, you know, it's a Zoom, I can see your faces, and we share one thing that we're planning on doing in the coming week. You know, so it could be just sharing for fun, or it could be sharing because you want a bit of accountability. In other words, you're declaring that this is what I intend to do in the next 5 days, say. And, you know, people are kind of expecting you to do it. Or it could be for some advice. You'd like to know, you'd like to do this in the coming week and you're not quite sure how. On the Friday, it's the opposite. You celebrate what you've done. And this could be like the end of that, like, I don't know how you say it in English. In French, say something like belting the belt, like coming full circle. Monday, you declare you're going to do it. During the week, you do it. And on Friday, you come back and say you did it. So that's the Zoom thing. You can just come on. You don't have to be there for the whole time. It's about an hour. It could be up to an hour. But on these things, what I'm doing now is it's just me, but I would love your comments, love you to say hello, where you are, how you're doing, and and your question or comment on creativity or anything else like that. So I'm actually going to go through a few of your comments and questions. First of all, I'm going to show you something that popped up on a page of a friend of mine. I actually made her my friend of the day. She's called 𝗏𝗏. And if I've got my, no, I'm not sure where my homepage is. Made her my friend of the day on my 𝗪𝗪𝗔 thing. And I saw this. I thought it was quite cool. I actually called this session something like Lost in Space, the Lost in Space special. And for some reason I couldn't remember why I called it that. So I did have a good reason. I thought it might be something to do with this. It says, let me make this bigger. Oh, I thought it was small, it was at 90%. Right, so that should be fairly easy to read. So it's a sort of Indian, native Indian, I don't think you should call them Indians, Native American person with an eagle on his wrist, the way you do. And it says divine essence. That's where it comes from. Okay, it's in French. L'homme qui croit quelquefois qu'il a été créé pour dominer, pour diriger. Mais il se trompe. 𝗏𝗵𝗲. Il fait seulement partie du tout. I'm going to translate this, obviously. Sa fonction ne consiste pas à exploiter, mais à surveiller, être régisseur. L'homme n'a ni pouvoir ni privilège, seulement des responsabilités. And that was written by someone called Oren Lyons, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Onondaga. So I'm guessing he's not a sort of English chap, probably a native Indian. And translated it says something like, man sometimes believes that he has been created to dominate, to lead, but he is wrong. He is simply a part of the whole. His function doesn't consist of exploiting, but of surveying. Régisseur. I think it's to a manager, maybe to be a manager, something like that. Man has neither power nor privileges, only responsibilities. And I thought that was good in the spirit of being at one with the universe and, you know, inspiration coming through us and we express it through our creativity. I thought that was quite nice. And people who are closer to the earth than sort of modern sort of Westerners, such as the American Indians, now it's quite trendy to quote American Indians, but you can see the essence of the wisdom that they have, not feeling separated from the earth. I remember some Native Indian story, Native American story. I think they honour the birds or the animals that they kill. They kill them for food, not for fun, and they honour them when they've killed them, because they don't see that they're greater than them or lesser than them. They see that they're part of the whole. So they thank them for being part of their life or something like that. So that's nice. And 𝗏𝗏 is a very beautiful spiritual girl. So I'm happy that she is my friend of the day today. Okay, so that was that. And as I said, I can't remember why I called it the Out in Space special, but I might remember later, you never know. So here we are. If you had one question about being more creative with your photos, what would it be? That is the question I asked you all. And this is to build up a set of questions which I will tackle over the weeks, and this will inspire people hopefully to ask me questions on the show itself. So let's have a look at what we've got here. This was interesting. This was really interesting from Laurel, and she says, I want to include a neck pendant size phoenix in every one of my photos. How? This was a really interesting question. It's kind of a photography question, but it kind of brings up all sorts of other questions like why? I mean, it doesn't matter why, you know, if you've got an idea, go for it. But I mean, I honestly don't know if I can answer it any better than anyone else could. There's a difference between questions which require an answer, like a specific answer, and those that are better if you discuss them and see if anything comes out. So this one, I'm not I asked her for more information. If you see my response to this, she says, I want to include a neck pendant size phoenix at first I didn't get it. I thought a neck pendant, size phoenix, so I didn't get it. Then I realised a neck pendant, the size of a phoenix, so a phoenix on a neck pendant, so maybe this big, in every one of my photos. How? My question to her was a fascinating question, Laurel, especially seeing as I don't know what a size phoenix is. See, and really, in every one of your photos, I may not be getting a joke here somewhere. So she came back and I got it this time. No joke. I want a phoenix represented in most, if not all, of my work, if possible. One size I have is 3.5 inches. So that must be about this big, which isn't small. The other is a bit bigger. So what can you say to that, really? I mean, you can of course, put the phoenix in front of the lens as you take the photograph, or maybe she'd like to place it in the photograph. So if she's taking a picture of a tree in a landscape, maybe she'd sort of hide it, embed it into the bark, or put it at the bottom of the tree or something, or in a branch. Taking a landscape, she could have it in the foreground. Taking a picture of someone, they could have it on their body somewhere. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that question, because I mean, you can put it in every photo, can't you? I'm actually more interested in what would you be trying to achieve through putting it in every photo? That would be interesting. I think this symbol is important for you, Laurel. It has special meaning for you. Remember, if you're taking photographs, once you've put it in the photograph, you don't really want to not want it in the photograph, because it would be pretty difficult to get out unless you do some sort of cloning. So this decision to put it in all your photographs would kind of, I mean, I'm stating the obvious, you'd have a phoenix pendant in every photograph. Do you think down the line that's what you would want forever? If it's your kind of life symbol, like I've kind of adopted the infinity symbol, then why not? That could be your thing. But interesting, very interesting question. And I say it's interesting. She says, also, I heard recently of an app that could put your face on other figures or basically anything else. Do you know of this one? I don't know of a specific one. I know there are ones out there. And the only thing that I've heard of along that, apart from people photoshopping photos, forever, they've been doing it for decades. There's a rather worrying app recently. I mean, it could be great, but it could be nasty as well, of morphing people's faces onto videos of other people, and it actually does an operation that makes it look like whatever the face of the person in the original video is doing, it makes it look like your face is doing that. So obviously if it's a nasty video, it could look like you're in a nasty video. So that's kind of worrying. But yeah, anyway, so thanks for that. That's great. My first question. I'll go over to the creative blog and article writing group now, and we had a question there as well. This is about being creative in writing. If you had one question about being more creative with your writing, what would it be? Maybe I should quickly show you a couple of my latest creations before we do that. Split it up a bit. So this is this week's When Lady Eiffel Smiles chapter with me down in the bottom corner. So I'm about to drop off. So next, because I do a perturbing self-portrait every 10 shots. So there's going to be one of these grids every 9 or 10 grids where I'm not on it. So I'm about to drop off the end. So next grid won't have me, maybe thankfully. So that's this week's grid, and I've just finished it. Here's the text that goes with it. So I've been, as usual, for many chapters now, writing away. And here are the photographs. So I'll just quickly have a look at some of these. Oh, I've got someone saying hello. Hello there. Hi, 𝗏𝗏. How are you doing? I came on a bit late today, having some sort of technical problems. My computer dying a bit. Just looking through. 𝗏𝗏, I think you've just arrived. I'm going to cover some of these questions that I put in here. If you had a question about creativity. So I just looked at one question from Laurel in the photography group. Then I'm going to look at the questions in the writing group, the infinite creativity group as well. So we'll see how it goes. Just wanted to break it up with a photo or two. So these are my photographs from last week. Actually, I won't look at those because I'll look at the last 7 because I think you've seen the others. So the last 7 were these ones. A shot where I normally add a little bit more to it than just have the building, but this one I enjoyed taking because there is one feature about this building in the middle of Paris, which isn't that normal. It's round. It's a round building. And you can see that it's round, not so much by the building, but by the building that's going around it. So I like the layout of that photograph taken from the side. This one was a rather intriguing photograph. I won't tell you how I did it. I'll just let you have a look at it and see what you think. So you can see various things in there. This black thing sort of occurring twice. This guy with a mask on, and there's maybe a reflection going on there somehow. Something weird anyway is happening. I think you'll agree. And this one. This was pure nature from 5 days ago. Just me seeing a leaf and seeing a human hand in the leaf, like nature's hand being reaching out to maybe give man another chance. I don't know what you think of that, but that was what came to my mind. There's 5 more. I'll look at them over the next hour. I will read this one though, because it turned into a little poem. And I called it Ingrained. And it goes like this. Nature knows. Her wisdom lies heart deep, relies on heavy boughs. Weathered veins reach out to us. A leafy palm, an olive branch. A helping hand rich with age. A chance to heal, offered in vain. Man doesn't. You need to read it more slowly to get the sort of the thread that's sort of woven through it. But the last line, man doesn't. Nature knows and man doesn't. So I like that. I like the leaf reaching out to us, and the beautiful autumn colours. Absolutely. There's still some lovely colours hanging around. Okay, I'm going to go back to the questions. Now, this was the question on the creative blog and article writing group, and I had a question. This was an intriguing question. Where does it come from? And I thought, hang on a second, where does what come from? And then it led into an interesting little discussion. She says, writing. Where does writing come from? I don't understand how I can be more creative with my writing when it just comes out of nowhere, and I don't feel like I'm being creative as it just comes. And I couldn't agree more, actually, because what did I say? That's a great point. I'll chat about it tonight and on the show, and probably on Sunday too. So where does it come from? Now, I don't know if she has a problem with not knowing where it comes from, or if she just is interested in the topic. Sharon, I don't know. And where does writing come from? Where do ideas come from? Where does creativity come from? This is a good old question, isn't it? And I guess if we knew that, then we could probably go there and get ideas whenever we like. But then would that be like knowing what the rest of your life is going to be like, including the day you die? Would that be something we'd want to know? So I actually I don't think I said ask questions about where creative. Hang on, I'm not saying that we can know where creativity comes from. It's more a case of helping more creativity come through us, but not necessarily finding its source. You could find places you are more creative, but I'm not sure if you could ever really, because ideas come. When does an idea come? Are you ever able to go to the other side of having the idea? Because like 1 second you don't have the idea, the next second you have the idea and you're thinking about it. You're often thinking about it before you realize that the idea has arrived. Do you see what I mean? Before the idea has arrived, you can't be thinking of it, can you? It's not possible. You could be thinking, oh God, I can't get any good ideas. Or you could be thinking about something else. But until the idea comes, you're not thinking about the idea. It's not possible. It's like until something comes across your vision. If you're looking at an empty sky, you're obviously not looking at a bird flying in the sky. How could you be? You could be imagining a bird flying in the sky, but that isn't a real bird. And you don't know what bird will come. If a bird does come, you don't know what it's going to be like. Big, small, flying fast, flying slowly, black, white. You don't know until the bird comes. And then when the bird comes, you're looking at the bird. And then you're looking at a real bird. But but you don't know where it came from. You didn't know when it was going to arrive. So I think ideas are a bit like that. Once they've come, I think the first thing is when an idea comes, you start thinking about the idea. I mean, that's what an idea is, isn't it? Suddenly you're thinking about something new. And then at some point later you might think, I wonder where that came from. I better remember that. And you've slipped out of, suddenly the idea has taken you over. And you're into, I better remember that. It's a bit like when you're gazing out of the window. And the danger is when you start thinking, I better remember that, or you might lose the idea. They come and they go incredibly quickly. It's a bit like when you're in the class and you're looking out the window and you start thinking about something. You don't realise when you started daydreaming. You just realise when the teacher says, "Oh," and you snap back. So honestly, I don't think it's possible to grab that instant when an idea arrives. You're either before the idea or you're after the idea. So that instant is very, very elusive. So I totally agree, Sharon, that maybe the question is pointless. Where does it come from? But because I don't really care. It doesn't worry me where it comes from. It doesn't really worry me. They come, and then I do something with them. Having said that, on a sort of interesting intellectual basis, it is interesting to wonder where they come from, isn't it? Why does it suddenly pop up? Where does an idea come from? It's crazy, an amazing idea. Where does it come from? And whether we need to worry about it or not, I don't know, unless you have no ideas ever. And then you could do some things to maybe make some more ideas come. And people talk about, having ideas in the shower, when they're walking in nature, when they're doing something like driving, where it seems like the body's occupied, but the brain doesn't have to think about it. Doesn't have to think about, moving the steering wheel or indicating, stuff like that. So that seems to be a good place for ideas to come. And so just to finish with that, she says, when it just comes out of nowhere, how can I be more creative when it just comes out of nowhere? And I don't feel like I'm being creative as it just comes. Well, maybe you don't need to be more creative. Maybe it's not a worry for you. And if it's not, then that's fine. So I think I'll leave that there. And I'll show you another picture, shall I? So here's another picture after the leaf. So I did a series this time. I decided to do 3 from the same place. If you look at the pictures, you can see the 3 from the similar one. It's this one in the top left, middle right, and bottom centre. And it's all got these black and white pillars, the Buren columns in the 𝗲𝗏 in Paris. And I don't normally do that, but I thought I would put 3 on the same theme, but each one with a completely different feel to it. So this one up here has got a beautiful, lovely little girl playing. Now, if you want to see what living in the moment is about, just watch kids. Do you think she's thinking about anything except having fun, running around these columns? I don't think so. So that's beautiful. I love that. And this one is more kids running. There's a boy running this time. The composition is different. You can see what I did. And it's like a little glimpse. It's almost like a window, that right-hand third. It's like a window into this little kid having fun jumping over the columns as well. So it's another expression of innocence and childhood and living in the moment, which is wonderful. I think we need as many of those as possible. And then this one is a different feel. There's still people running, you see, so there's still the kids and his dad running. The boy and his dad, maybe, they're having a race. So that's beautiful, that's cool. So that's a link to the other 2 photographs. And then in this way, the column is in the middle. Whereas in the other 2, on this one it was dominating the left-hand side. And this one, lots of little columns, tiny ones. So I like the fact that there are 3 different takes on the column. This one has something extra. It's got bits of it falling off, which is kind of cool, because it makes it interesting, and there's a barrier around it. Let me read you what I wrote, shall I, for that one. I thought it was kind of funny. I wrote, "Access to this column strictly forbidden. Just in case you had a sudden urge to leap the barrier and give it a great big hug, I suppose. Can't be too careful in these testing times. With its protection peeling, prudence prevails." I mean, it's quite a thing for one of those big marble slabs to fall off, can you imagine? And by the looks of it though, this poor old pillar is feeling a bit out of sorts and could probably do with some warm arms around it, like a lot of us these days, right? Okay, shall we start a movement? 3 hugs for down on their luck cylindrical man-made structures, because compassion. I'm sure their woody brethren wouldn't begrudge them that. Because you know, tree hugging's a thing. And I was just thinking, what about bringing in column hugging? What about, let's hear it for columns. Don't columns need hugs as well? 𝗏𝗏 says, does creativity come to you while listening to music? I often create with music on, but normally that's with music in the background. Sometimes when I'm writing, I have to turn the music off because it's too distracting. So like, I can have music on when I'm writing, but for the final read through, before I publish it, I normally turn the music off because I need to focus on seeing if I've repeated a word or if there's a spelling mistake or something like that, or if I could think of a better way of saying something. So normally when I'm at the end of the creative process and I just want to make sure it's as good as it can be at that moment, the music goes off so I can focus on it on my last read through. In terms of when I'm writing it, I have music on because I know it's not the end of the process. In terms of having the idea in the first place, do ideas come when I'm listening to music? Yeah, they do actually, yeah. Sometimes if I'm really in a creative flow, I might want to have music which doesn't have too many words. You know, maybe an album that I'm really familiar with, so it just kind of merges into the background, doesn't distract me too much, or music without words, or get this, 𝗏𝗏, Greek music, for example. So, for example, I might put an album of traditional Greek music on, you know, with the clarino, or it could be Indian music or Arabic music. Basically, it's music which I love, and I don't understand the words. That is fantastic. I love that because the words don't distract me, and then the ideas can flow. I love that. So that's a nice question. Yeah. What about you, 𝗏𝗏? Does creativity come to you while listening to music, or do you need silence? How does that work for you? Oh, we've got another one. Another question from 𝗏𝗏. Thank you, 𝗏𝗏. It's you and me. You and me, babe. And she says, have you read any books on creativity to get ideas? I have got books on creativity, like writing creativity, artistic creativity. Some of them are not so much, yeah, some of them are about getting ideas, and some of them are about getting those ideas out there and producing. Like 𝗏𝗏 Pressfield talks about the war of art. I don't know if you know this. By the way, I've got the same sweater on as in certain other videos, so I hope you appreciate that. I know this is one of your favourite. Give me some sweater love. This one, the war of art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. And let me just show you another couple of those. And you might find his approach rather funny. Not funny, ha ha. But when you call a book, a very best-selling book, The War of Art, that doesn't really sound like it's a beautiful, gentle, free-flowing creative process, does it? The War of Art, it's aggressive. Break through the blocks. So the blocks, bam, break through them, pow! It doesn't sound like you're just in a beautiful flowing moment. So I don't know if you think getting art out there is like a war, a battle, but he talks about like what does he call it? He calls it resistance. It's basically the thing that stops you from producing as much as you'd like to. And like a devil inside, it's like when you're on a diet, the devil telling you to eat the crap. Does that exist? Is it a figment of our imagination? I don't know. But his approach is, it's a battle, almost a battle to the death. He talks about it quite strongly. And I bought it. I absolutely loved that idea. I thought, right, it's a battle. I've got to fight. I've got to get my arms, my weapons to beat this thing stopping me from creating. And then I heard other people talking about creativity and art and getting it out there, saying, if you think it's a battle, it's going to be a battle. But if you think it'll come when it comes, and you just need to be ready for it to come. And then it will come. But you don't need to fight. So it was a complete reversal to this guy. Look at some of his other books. Do the work. Like, do the damn work. Work, it doesn't sound like fun, does it? Nobody wants to read your shit. That doesn't sound too pleasant, does it? I mean, his books are great. I love them. But it's not a benevolent, soft, gentle approach, is it? It's like aggression. It ain't over. Turning pro. Tap your inner power and create your life's work. Love it, love it. But what does he mean by turning pro? He doesn't mean... he's not really talking about a 9-to-5 job type of thing or getting a boss. Or he's talking about treat your art or your creativity as though it were a job with as much seriousness. In other words, wake up in the morning. If you've decided 9 o'clock is when you start your job, your art, you wake up in the morning and at 9 o'clock you start, as though you had to go to a job where your boss will make a comment if you're 1 minute late. If you've got to turn up. You start work at 9, you're in the office at 9, unless you've got an excuse, but it's an excuse. It's not the norm. When it comes down to our art and creating, he says, turning pro, it's moving from it being a cute little hobby to being something that is your entire life in a way. And for that to happen, you need a shift. You need a shift. You can't think of it as your hobby anymore. You have to think of it as almost, this is the way I am. This is what I do. This is in my soul. Cut your hand off and through the bone, you will see writing. I write. I'm a writer or whatever. And it sounds a bit sort of like heavy stuff. And yet, I think it's pretty cool. The idea that, you want to write, you're a writer, so write. Don't just say that you write or write from time to time. Because it sounds like, yeah, but it wouldn't be fun anymore. But are you sure? Because, if you love writing, then as soon as you start writing, theoretically, that's what you love to do. So it's not really about the writing. Because if you want to write, you must love writing. So it's not about doing a lot of writing, actually, because if you did a lot of writing and you don't like it, well, actually, you don't like writing, go and do something else. It's about starting. It's about the discipline of letting yourself do what you want to do. Because we find all sorts of excuses. We're experts at it. But it's excuses against what we want to do. So that's why he he takes this approach, turning pro. Treat your passion as though it were a job, and you will do your passion far, far more than if you just think of it as a hobby. It's like being cruel to be kind. He's being tough to be kind so that we can write that book that we always wanted to write. We can have that exhibition. You've got to do the work. So that's pretty cool. Sweater love. Thank you, my dear. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I needed it today. Went into Paris today. Freezing. Chilly. Got a few new pictures. And for me, I listen to music that has no lyrics, but very soft music because it irritates me. I can't keep it for too long. So you like having music when you're being creative, but not too loud and no lyrics. Yeah, I get that. Some people like classical music, don't they? To be honest, classical music, plinky plonky piano doesn't do it much for me. There's some classical music I love, some plinky plonking piano I love. But on the whole, classical music isn't my go-to chilling out music. So thanks for those questions, Desmond. That's great. Yeah, I mean, music is the backdrop to my life. In fact, the thing I wrote this morning on this photograph, the artist's journey photograph. This is before I discovered the 3x3 grid. It was right in the early days of my painting. And this little one here says hope. And I'd just come back from Greece, actually, having gone there to get married and divorced. Came back, was being put up by a couple of friends. And I painted this little one here. It's just a little block like that. I wrote hope in lovely chunky paint and still got it with a little balloon there. And this was at some period, maybe even before Greece, this one. And the artist's journey, you see, this is This is the one that I didn't show you, the artist's journey. You are an artist and you have an artist's journey. Now this could relate to any sort of art, any sort of creativity. It's not painting. He's a writer, so he's using art to be any sort of creativity. And it's pretty cool. It says, here wherever you are, whatever you've been called to make, you need to read this book. And the subtitle is The Wake of the Hero's Journey and the Lifelong Pursuit of Meaning. So I think this is kind of after you've gone pro, after you've turned pro and you are able to produce on a regular basis, this is kind of the follow-on to that, and just basically living your life as a writer or whatever your creative thing is. So I wrote something on this, and I think it was relating to that. I can't even remember. It was this morning. It was a long time ago. And I wrote, this is about music, you see, exactly about music. Yellow's Pocket Universe is a great album to listen to when you're in a reflective and slightly spaced out mood. This is why I called this show the Lost in Space Special. Ha! It's come back to me, because I'm going to call each of these Sunday Sabsangs the such and such special, around some vague theme. This one is the Lost in Space Special because of this. Listen, Yellow's Pocket Universe is a great album to listen to when you're in a reflective and slightly spaced out mood. I'm listening to it now, so know that these words are infused with Teutonic techno beats and German accented truisms and psychobabble. Just what the doctor ordered on a shape-shifting Sunday morning. Plus paraphernalia, which is the stuff in the photograph. The little picture on the mantelpiece says, "Hope from a time I needed it." The big picture is an adventure in triangles, squares and circles. The book is probably one of the substances I'm on, the artist's journey. And the bookmark is all my own creation, infinity squared. If you please. Life is a ride. That's a line from this album, Pocket Universe by Yellow. Life is a ride, surfing on infinite potential. Coming soon to a universe near you. Watch this space. So that's what I wrote, completely out of the blue. There's a great example there, Spinner, you see. I was listening to that album, and that album infused this text. Not only was it there, subtly there, but I actually wrote about it. Because I write about anything. It doesn't really matter what I write about. Whatever comes to me on these, because that's my style. I found my thing I'm quite comfortable with. It could have been about the history of Paris. It could have been, so there you go. No rules, unless you want some rules. My rules, if you think I don't have any rules, well, I do. I've got limits, you see. It's a text which will fit in around whatever the photograph is in this size of font comfortably. That is my rule. And it should be an article that is reasonably fun to read, fun to write, and it could be about life, the universe and everything. It could be some comment on society. It could be about French history or Paris curiosity. It could be about the photograph itself. Those are my topics. And then it's just me. It's me writing. And if I have found any sort of voice, or if any sort of voice has found me, that voice will come through in every single one of my texts, which is good. That in itself hangs it together. For some people that might not be enough. They might think that I'm going to be the person who writes about football, or I'm going to be the person who writes about anxiety. That could be their thing. They've decided that's what I want. I want people to see an article from me, know it's about anxiety, know it's about football or whatever. For me, I found that too restricting. I could have written about the English language. Every one of these could be a funny aspect of the English language. Or every one of these could have been about Paris. Every single one. You would know, oh, it's another article about Paris from Sab. A lot of them are about Paris. Some of them are about my photos. Some of them are about life, the universe and everything. Some of them are about me. So I found that too restricting. For some people, it is absolutely what they love. I am the the person who writes about the life in the Australian outback. For me, that was too restricting. I've found my limits though. You know, to be honest, my limits in what I write about aren't very, I will write about anything, but it has to fit into this size, my style, and be doable every day and interest me. Let me go back to some of these questions now. So that was a great one. I talked about Sharon's comment there. Now let's go on to this one. In Infinite Creativity Now group, we had, no, it wasn't there. We had a question. It wasn't actually a question. It was from Valentina, who I didn't understand actually. She says soul marketing to vibrate out for client. Now I don't understand actually what you're saying, Valentina. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. It doesn't sound like an answer to my question, so I'm afraid I can't really comment too much on that. In the Today's the Day group, a lot of you were enthusiastic about this and gave me a lot of, oh, don't play up again. I'm actually just going to close that and open a new one because this happened before and I needed to close it. Okay, it's not responding. So quite a few of you had some comments on this in the Today's the Day group of all places. So let's have a look at what you came up with if I can find it. Just talk amongst yourself. So how's your day been, Ďespiňa? Have you had a nice weekend? Nice and quiet, nice and calm? Or has it been stressful for any reason? Or have you managed to create? Have you created something recently? See, this is my photo of the day. There it is. There's always hope. I think that's nice, isn't there? There's hope on my mantelpiece. So there's always hope written on my mantelpiece. And there's always hope in life. There's always something positive. Just chug through these. Oh, look at this amazing one from Thomas. Playing like crazy with my my full infinity squared painting that he's adopted. This is fantastic because I wonder if I could show you, because the one he's adopted, he's opening it one piece at a time, and guess which, randomly, and guess which one. How can I find this? It's infinity squared, and guess which one he has left to the end. This is really good because you see the 8 that he's opened so far are all pure white, and he's got one left. This is so cool. And the one that's left is not the same as the others. I was going to do the painting all white. That was my, no, I wasn't. And someone said to me, I love it all white, before I put any colour. I love it all white. Please, can I have the one that's all white? And I said, okay. At the last minute, I couldn't bear for there not to be some colour. This is one that was adopted. And Thomas is opening it for fun, one piece at a time. And the last piece, the one he hasn't opened, is this one here with the colour. That is so cool. That's wonderful. This is the grid with all the different possible, well, not all, just a whole bunch of possibilities for playing with the same photo, the same picture. So feel free to adopt a full painting, people. Say hello if you're watching the replay. It'd be lovely to have some comments. It's me and Ďespiňa at the moment, and how lovely is that? Yeah, so that's wonderful to see. That is really, really touching. My art is half finished when it leaves me, and the other half completed when it reaches someone else. So that's a beautiful example of that happening. I couldn't have imagined what Thomas would do with it. He's created photographs, he's created entire universes in his own head around my painting, and he's creating new original photographs thanks to that, and he will inspire me to do new things as well. That is so cool. I do my black and white photos. Ah, right, yes. You know what? I'm starting to do black and white photos now. I've done a couple coming up in the future. I do my black and white photos. I've started a vocabulary expansion for my writing. That's excellent. So far I have 8 words, and I have read a lot today, and I did some writing. Wow, Ďespiňa, you're a star. New style of photography. Building up cool new words. And reading a lot to get that input that makes that we need this rich pool to draw on when inspiration comes. It doesn't come from a void, it comes from a life well lived and well read, and things happening, new things happening, interacting with what we've already got inside us. And you did some writing as well. Wonderful, that is amazing. And I'm just wondering if I could show you a couple of my black and white photographs without revealing too much. I mean, I will show you them, but so here, if I chug down, somewhere down here is, look at this. This is just amazing. This is Dorothy. She also adopted one of three. There's one of three in this style. And look what she did. She did this wonderful video. There's some music that goes with it. I won't play that. She did, with the same support. There's only 3 of these exist in the world, right? And Thomas has got one. Dorothy has got another one. They're both unique, by the way. They're not carbon copies at all. But obviously it's the same one, and I'll move on. I'll probably never do another painting like this again. Dorothy interpreted it in a completely different way. She did a video. And I could not have imagined what she did. I could never have imagined what Thomas would do with his painting. And it's amazing. I'm not just saying that, you know, I'm truly delighted with this chain of creativity that is happening, and anyone can start the chain. If they start it, maybe they had an idea from somewhere else, but sometimes, often not much is going on, and you create something really out of the blue. Sometimes because you've just created it without any reason for it, you're sometimes even a little bit shy to share it. People might say, you know, what's that? But that's when the magic happens. If you are the instigator, you are the person who creates something new and shows it to the world, you are kind of at the beginning of a new chain of creativity. And you know this, 𝗏𝗏, because when you put your words into some of your groups and a whole bunch of people comment on them, that's what happens. So I am actually looking for and Thomas is here, by the way. Hello, Thomas. There's Thomas's stuff. Now this isn't a show looking at Today's the Day. That's a little bit more confidential, so I won't focus on those. So I'm getting down to something here, and I'll have a quick look at Thomas's comment as well. So Thomas says, "Hello Sab, hello 𝗏𝗏, hello. I really hope that the coloured piece would come out last." Seriously, did you plan it? Because with your massive calculations, did you manage to kind of work out which one it would be? Did you kind of do it sneakily? That is, oh, he says, and please believe me, I didn't fake this. That is wonderful. I think Thomas, maybe you share my idea that it's complete and utter chance. It's not a sign from the universe. 𝗏𝗏 probably thinks it's a sign from the universe. Yeah, but what sign? It's whatever sign you like, and it's right. If you think it's a sign from the universe, then it absolutely is for you. I'm not just you, 𝗏𝗏, anybody, you know. So that's part of the fun side of life. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Maybe it isn't a coloured one. Maybe I gave you a new version which didn't have a coloured piece. Ha ha! So Thomas says he's not faking it. Am I ever going to get to the new bunch of questions? Come on. Come on. There we go. Oof, took a while, didn't it? If you had one question about being more creative or living more meaningful days, what would it be? You see, I change it, each one, I change it slightly. In the photography group, being more creative with photography. Writing, more creative with writing. Infinite creativity group, more creative in general. Today's the Day group, more creative and living more meaningful days. And we had 13 comments. So let me check this out. This is nice from Jen, who did do my masterclass last time. Wonderful creative photographer. How do you turn it off? Just kidding. Thank you for igniting my creativity flame. She's amazingly creative. She's got so much. This is not a joke when she says, how do you turn it off? Because she's a bit like me. Too many ideas, not enough time. And and so her joke comment, how do you turn it off, got me to thinking. Can you have too much creativity? Can it be a pain in the neck would it actually be useful to stop having ideas all the time and actually spend some of that time on focusing on one of your ideas that you've already had and bringing it into the world? And I think the answer is probably yes, unless you are able to take every single idea, quickly write it down, and then carry on your current project. Because it's not nice to lose ideas. So my current thing is to note down all my ideas when they come. The minute, while I'm still in the idea, as soon as I realise an idea is happening, to quickly write it down before I forget it. But not to go off on that idea, because that will mean stopping a previous idea that I'm working on. And it's so much. Can you imagine if you took that to the extreme? You only ever had cool ideas and never produced any of them? That wouldn't be very good, because it would be frustrating. Ideas are there to get you to do something. They're a push. Here's an idea. Wouldn't that be fun? But if you don't do it, then it isn't fun. Having the ideas can be fun, but you didn't really choose to have the ideas. So basically what I'm saying is, you probably realise, I think it's a good idea to devote a certain amount of your day to working on a solid idea and bringing new things into the world. That should be a priority. Otherwise, you're just a dreamer, and you need to dream. But if you don't want to be a dreamer 100% of your life, then there has to come a point where a bit of discipline comes in and you produce. And that's the other half of what I do. Half is the creativity side, the pure ideas. The other half is producing something from those. So that's my thing. My thing has found me, or I've found my thing. So basically, Jen, that's what I would say. Grab the idea, put it in maybe a category for what idea it's related to. You know, if it's about stones, put it in the stones category. If it's about jewelry, put it in the jewelry category, and go back to your current project and carry on, happy that you've got a new idea in your ideas box. Great response from a creative turbo generator. It's getting hot. I'm going to turn the heating off. By the way, check this out. I'm currently creating some new packs, some new 𝗏 puzzle packs. I'm trying to do something here. Okay, so check out this mess. Those are my new 𝗏 puzzle packs being created, and the thing that you can see on the floor is this. My famous picture and postcard, which is part of the 𝗏 puzzle packs. So that's fun. And just to finish with that, before I look at your comments again, thanks for commenting, it's beautiful, wonderful. I say, excellent question. I often wonder about that myself. I've talked about it. And now I'm going to go to your comments. No, yes, no, yes. Why don't you pin it to the announcements so you and we can find it easily? Pin the thread. Yeah, I should, yeah. I thought I had, but I obviously haven't. I got up early today and my husband said, "Why are you up so early?" I answered, "I need to write my idea before I lose it, but I lost my sleep afterwards." You can't have everything. Lose the idea, get back to sleep. Keep the idea, lose some sleep. You're an ideas machine. Thomas says, one more word at the beginning of opening the puzzle pieces. One more word. At the beginning of opening the puzzle pieces, I was always wishing, please let it be the coloured one. But then it changed to the other side. Yeah, I get that. I really get that. It flips. If you think it isn't the first one, what else would be meaningful? Maybe like having fun, trying to invent meaning. I think, and to be honest, it's a bit like people who are into numbers. You can make any number a magic number. So I could have said, if it's the first one, that's really cool. It was number one. Okay, it's not number one. Hey, number 5, the one in the middle. That would be really cool. It wasn't number 5. Next, the last one. Let's make it the last one. The last one was the colour one. And you've got it, bingo. So, and you could probably find cool reasons for it being any number, you know. Number 2, it's my favourite number. Number 3, I was born on the 3rd of July, you know. It's a game. It's part of the human game. So although I laugh at people who assign meaning to numbers, often that suits them fine. I think it's great. I think it's great having fun in life. The thing is, when they actually get upset if I suggest it's just a bit of fun, then I think we've crossed the line between. That's a line I don't cross. You know, I never actually believe anything really. But some people do, and then it comes down to me just saying, well, if you like doing that, then I'm really glad that you found something you like doing. You know, I'm not them, so what do I know? So, but then I changed it to the other side. Let it be last. And now I'm pretty insecure if I should ever open this piece. Something like Schrödinger's cat, maybe. I don't see how. I think you're exaggerating, Thomas. I don't think you could be insecure about opening this piece. The only problem is if I mixed up the pieces amongst the other puzzles and I actually put the wrong piece in and it's actually another white piece, that could be a little bit embarrassing. But does it exist? Well, you know what? Maybe until you open it, it's like 50% exists and 50% doesn't. And you will only know that when you open it, and it has to decide forever. Well, for the time that you're holding it in your hand, it has to decide whether it's going to exist or not. So do let us know if when you open it, it does exist or not, and if it's dead or alive, and if it's coloured or white. That is a very nice. Oh, I love playing with words with you, Thomas. We have and with Despina as well. We're kind of the terrible trio of wordplay. And good news. Good news. Sometime soon, I will be bringing back to life a thing that I used to do. It was publishing articles and fun, cool aspects of the English language. I'm not sure if this is. I mean, I think you like English, so you know it's not your mother tongue, but just English is crazy, really crazy language, really fun, really playful. And I used to have a blog where I put new crazy aspects of English on it. And then I gave up for years, and then I started a new blog, put the same things again, and I gave up. But this time I'm thinking, right, this will be it. This is it. I'll create a website. The website will basically be the blog. Not like a bunch of pages. Just the blog is the website with a new, funky, fun aspect of English every week or every time I think of it. There'll be a Facebook page possibly for people who love English. And that'll allow me to get this thing I love out there. Cool English nonsense craziness. Wonderful. And I've also got an idea with Despina's help, or we can work together, or maybe so the cool English thing, that'll be 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. HotchpotchEnglish.com. Yeah. Free English lessons is freeenglishlessons.com. And that's to attract people to my paid English lessons, which will be rainbowenglishschool.org. So I've got those 3 sites for English, my love of English, which is dead at the moment, which is a tragedy, apart from the writing. So I'm so excited about that. If only I can find the time to get those going. And I've also got hodgepodge.com, which is a damn cool name, hodgepodge.com. And I don't know what to put on it. Hodgepodge means a mixture of any old stuff. Hodgepodge, it's a hodgepodge, everything is mixed together. It's a beautiful name. But I don't know what to put on it yet. I don't know what to put on it. Maybe every new thing I do, I could put it there, or is that too much about me? I don't know. I don't know. What did this say here? What did you say? I got up early today and I got myself a beer. Do you know that song? Woke up this morning and I got myself a beer. Woke up this woke up. Woke up this morning and I got myself a beer. Na 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 na. It's not beer. It's crap. Thomas says that, which we saw. I found a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 dictionary of English and French. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Words that sound like they should be the same in both, mean the same in both languages, and they don't. I used it when I studied translation. Now I don't use it anymore. Do you want me to send it to you? Send it. You know what? I've got a lot of material, so I'll say no. Thank you, but no. I've got a ton. Can you imagine decades of teaching English and being fascinated by English, and being a kleptomaniac in the language schools that I used to work in? So I've got a ton of stuff, a ton. So show it to me. You can show me it. Show me a picture of it, but I wouldn't take that off your hands. False friends. They're often more fun between the two languages concerned than a global audience, but yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. Just like the sound of hodgepodge. Sorry, I don't know how to write it correctly. That is correct, you don't. There are two general spellings. Actually, I'll write it in the comments. This is the first time I'm so excited. I'm going to write my first ever comment in the chat. It's hotch. The word is hotch. I don't know if this is going to work. Where will it come up? I don't know if it'll come up for you guys. Hodgepodge, that's it. Some people, Americans maybe, say hodgepodge, which is another version of it. Hodgepodge. I don't know if you can see it in the chat. Let me know. No, maybe it's going on to YouTube. I don't know if that's coming up in. So it's H2. Have I got anything I could write on? Yes. Okay. Rather than spelling it out, that's a bit boring. So it's 𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏.com. Love it. That was one of my first ever websites that I bought, probably 20 years ago or more. Okay. Oh, I can show it to you like that. I'm an idiot. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 or 𝗏𝗏𝗏. But my website is 𝗏𝗏𝗏. I always preferred that. Right, we're coming to the end of the show, kind of. I won't drag it out. An hour is pretty cool. Except I do have some more questions. Maybe I can look at them next week. Angela says, this is not exact. I might make this the last one so it doesn't drag on. This is not exactly a question, but more a thought I would like to share. And I'll make this probably the last one, because Karen's asking something technical about photos. So I'll probably look at that another time. So it's not exactly a question, says Angela, but more a thought I would like to share. I wonder sometimes if it is good to deal with many things at the same time on a creative level, or with one that you will discover, evolve, and reach it in a highest. I've just remembered I had other comments which I was going to talk about in the writing thing, and I haven't got to them, but it doesn't matter. We had Ashley. Ashley contributed a beautiful thing in the writing group. The writing group is waking up. We're getting some really nice contributions. I've got to get my finger out. You guys have got to get your finger out. We've got to do this together. Make this group sing. So what is she saying? Is it a good idea to deal with many things at the same time on a creative level, or with one that you will discover, evolve, and reach it in a highest level, and get to a higher level? So before I read on, my first initial reaction to that is, if you're doing lots of, it's just a cliche. Jack of all trades, master of none. So a master is obviously a master. The work they produce is as good, as closest to perfection as you can get. A jack, I think it's an old word for like the lowest apprentice who makes the tea and eventually will become the master, but is right at the bottom. So jack of all trades, you do a little bit of everything. You don't do it much. You don't do it very well because you haven't practiced. You don't get paid much for it. So, but you experience lots of stuff. Cool. The flip side is you're a master. But the thing is, you can't be a master of everything. You've got to devote a lot of your life to studying something, practicing it. You'll become very, very good at something very small. Or you could you could dabble. You could know a little bit about lots of things, or a lot about one thing. And this is a great question. What What's the best thing to do? I'll let you think about it. What do you think? What do you think? What is the balance between trying loads of stuff but not really going deep in it, and concentrating on one single thing and becoming amazing at that one thing? Which do you think is, or on the line between those two, where do you think the best place is on that line? Wonderful question. I'll finish the question. But I realise that for me, perfection is not the goal. It's just an illusion. I prefer to do what excites me and piques my interest. I am much happier to search and constantly discover new interesting things that have no limits and no end. Finally, it fills me. At least this is creativity, isn't it? A wonderful ponder, Angular. So Angular, I would say, is more towards the end of trying lots of things and having fun doing that, and not worrying about becoming an expert or spending her entire life on one thing. Perfection is not the goal. I think that's fine. That's fine. Because if your goal is to have fun, what did you say? Much happier to search and constantly discover. So if your goal is to constantly search and discover new interesting things, then you wouldn't want to limit yourself to one thing, would you? If your objective is to become the best in your field in something, or to do something that simply requires a lot of effort, focused effort on one thing, like have a painting exhibition, you've got to paint a lot of pictures. Publish a book, you've got to write a lot of words. You've got to spend a lot of time writing words. But if that's not your objective, then you wouldn't. So it's a very personal thing, very personal. I think you just need to be aware of what your objective is. What will make you happy? Will it be that published book? Then you've got to do the work on one thing, focused a lot. If your objective is to try loads of things in life, you've got a bucket list this long, and you want to try all these things, then don't spend too much time on one thing. As long as you're happy with not becoming an expert, just trying stuff out. Because if you want to become an expert, you've got to do it a lot, to the exclusion of other things. If I had a brain tumour, I would want someone to work on it who had spent a lot of time studying brain tumours. I don't care if this person has done nothing but study brain tumours, if they are the best brain tumour person in the world to work on mine. But I don't want to be like that. Having said that, my equivalent of that would be maybe writing, photography, painting. Music isn't, you see. I've bought myself a musical drum. My objective is not to become anything other than something I can produce some fun sounds. It's much, much lower on my list of priorities than writing. Writing, I've decided I want to do it every day, not music. Photography, I've decided to publish my photo of Paris, very small domain, photo linked to Paris every day. So it's not any old photo, it's a photo of Paris. So I've limited myself, you see. I only focus on Paris. That's a choice. Painting, I do not have an objective of painting every day. That's a little bit lower down. When I say lower, that's wrong, isn't it? It should be on the scale. That is on the scale of doing just one thing all the time and doing a ton of things, and obviously not spending much time on any of them. On that scale, and there's not one good end and one bad end. That's why I changed it from, top to bottom to right to left in any given order. Where are you on the scale? That's the thing. So I find that some of my activities are right towards spending a lot of time, like the things I do every day. Some are in the middle, maybe juggling. I try to practice every day, but don't always. My musical drum, I do it sometimes, not always. To the other end, where I try something from time to time. I might try some new food once, never try it again. So it's a scale, isn't it? And then you decide where you want to put your things on that scale. So just to finish this, I'm not sure if I'm answering this at all. She kind of answered it for us. She's shown where her preferences are, and it's to each of us to decide where our preferences are in terms of how much time we want to spend on each thing. Knowing that the more time you spend on something, the better you'll get. You might get more satisfaction from it, therefore, but you will experience less new things in your life. And if you're more towards experiencing new things, you might get frustrated if you're too much towards the other end, trying to focus on one thing all the time. It's like I've got this image of becoming great at a musical instrument. Oh my God, how many hours a day, or a gymnast or a tennis player, anything. When I look at someone like Roger Federer, like a great musician, like an incredible, athlete, whatever, or a scientist, a Nobel Prize winner, I admire what they've done. I absolutely don't envy anything about them, including getting the Nobel Prize, because I can't help thinking, for a start, all the things that they could have done in their life, their limited little life, that they haven't, because they focused on one thing. Be careful though, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. I'm not saying that my life is better than theirs, because if they decided to do that, I'm assuming that is the one thing they thought would be better than anything else. So good for them. But I can't help thinking that. I can't help thinking, the tennis player, who has won all the tournaments, got all the glory, lots of money, for hitting a ball again and again and again. I would not swap my life for Nadal's or Roger Federer's or Djokovic's. No way, not in a million years. I wouldn't swap my life for anybody else's. And my life is what it is. It's what it is. But if you can't say that, if you can't honestly say that, then that's all I need. That's all I need in my life, is to be able to say, I wouldn't swap my life for anybody else's, including all the shit that I've had for many, many, many years. And during the shitty times, there were great times. So don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. But, including the shitty stuff, I would not change anything. And there was the second thing, and I can't remember what it was. That's been a good night to you, my love. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you again very soon. Facebook user, hello Facebook user. I'm afraid I don't know who you are, because you're on Facebook. So what you need to do, if you want to let me know who you are, you can just type I am so and so, or you can go to, I've got it somewhere. You can go here. You can go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just accept. All you're saying is let Sab see who I am when I comment. Okay, streamyard.com/Facebook and accept. So we've got a comment from Facebook user, a new person. Maybe you're an old friend, and you say maybe focusing on only one thing means to close oneself only on this one thing. BB, bye bye. I think that's. I'm not sure if that's Thomas saying bye bye. Not sure about this. So let me focus on this. Focusing on only one thing means to close oneself only on this one thing, and therefore losing all other things, but get deeper into this thing and maybe get new insight outside to get prepared for new experiences. Sure. If you study something to a great depth, you will get insights that you wouldn't have got if you hadn't studied that depth, including what it is to fight through boredom, for example. Or you might discover new sensations about doing the same thing again and again, which you wouldn't have if you hadn't pushed through. It's Thomas. Thomas, you're back with a Facebook user. Okay, hello, Thomas. Yeah, absolutely. I did this thing once called, and vice versa. I'll finish. What could I have already experienced when not only focusing on one thing? So I did this thing once, which is my example of it. I went to this art therapy class, and we had a piece of paper, white, and you had to go from, you had two colours of paint. I think the most extreme one was yellow and blue. That's a nightmare. But you could imagine yellow and red, or red and blue. So you take the blue and you start painting blue, pure blue on one side of the sheet. You start painting pure yellow on the other side and move them together. Or you have another technique. The objective is to have a completely pure gradation, changing from blue on one side, pure blue on one side, to pure yellow on the other, without seeing any join. There's no line where the colour changes. None. It's supposed to be a completely perfect blend. And it's a nightmare. You cannot separate. Blue and yellow. It just doesn't work. There's always a line. Not always, it is possible, but it's incredibly difficult. So I spent 2 hours trying to do one blend from this without a gap. Tiny little brushstroke after tiny little brushstroke, watered down again and again. And after 2 hours, the lady said, okay, time to finish. And I thought, what? I've only been doing it for 20 minutes. My mind went somewhere. And I don't know where it went. But doing this boring, repetitive stroke, but with an objective, again and again and again, taught me something about patience, about tiny little steps will get you there, because my blend wasn't that bad in the end. So the fact that I did that taught me something about painting. It's not just about slapping bits of paint on. If you do a blend, it gives you a beautiful effect. And I wouldn't have thought of that. I'm kind of, I didn't even teach myself. I didn't even teach myself. I just do whatever happens. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's me, Thomas, says Thomas. Yeah, okay, so is there any more to this? That's creativity, isn't it? Wonderful ponder. Angela. She's Greek. And, oh, there's Ashley. I'm going to do these next week, okay? In fact, because I think that's fine. I've been going on for a week, an hour and a quarter. I'll finish off by looking at... Is there anything else to look at here? This one was nice. The poster says... I'll get rid of this thing here. If I can. Oh yeah, there it is. So this one is, the poster says, in Paris, we say hello without touching. And in Paris, it's always, la bise, you touch cheeks, mwah, mwah, you shake hands. That's basically what they do, those two, maybe often both. And the poster says, in Paris, we say hello without touching. And that's kind of against French religion, basically, because they touch. And, it's not unpleasant. And next to this big poster is a lady, touching another lady. I'm guessing it's someone who has decided to volunteer to look after some of the poor old folks who are on the streets. The lady sitting down is getting a little bit of tender, loving care and touch from someone else. So that's beautiful. I don't know if she's getting a massage or she's getting a haircut or, just a little bit of care. So that's beautiful. And I think I said a similar thing in my photo. This one, I already told you about that one. And I already read this one, didn't I, as well? So we're done here. My work is done here, folks. And I will leave it there. So nice to have you commenting. That makes it all worthwhile. I love you guys and I love your creativity. I love what we've got going here. Feel free to invite your friends, if you know people who would like to come along, listen to me rambling about creativity and your questions. And the photography masterclass is now finished, except there's still some stuff to do. But officially, all the lessons are done. We had the last Zoom session. And now it's just mopping up the ends. And people are going to we'll do some Zoom shows where they talk about their galleries. People will finish getting their photos in. And new stuff will happen. The new stuff that is going to happen, by the way, is I won't bother looking at it. There's not many people watching, so I'll make a big announcement. Maybe tonight. Who knows? Is the next masterclass is happening in January. There'll be a 5-day challenge, free, on creativity, really fun, really easy. And then towards around 25th of January, my creativity masterclass happens. There's 2 elements to it. One is you learn to be masters at all sorts of aspects of creativity and productivity, getting amazing ideas and getting stuff out there. Wonderful. And then the second thing is you get something out there. You get a 9-week project out there. Any creative topic that you have in mind that you would love to finish. Maybe you have difficulty finishing. Maybe you have difficulty starting. Maybe you have difficulty carrying on when you're in the middle. Maybe your motivation goes down. Maybe you need support. It's all in the program. The only thing I don't do is tell you how to do your creative topic, because I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert. I mean, even if it's photography or writing, where I have my masterclasses on that, even if you choose that for this one, the Infinite Creativity Now masterclass in January, I won't tell you how to take your photographs. I won't tell you how to write. No more than I would tell you how to do a recipe, knit a sweater, create a Japanese garden. I won't really have any more input than any of that, because this course is about you understanding how to create and how to produce. And after this masterclass, you will know exactly how to do that again on any other creative project you have. The structure is 9 weeks. So in the first week, you have to come with an idea, right? I should have this on the screen, shouldn't I? For you to look at it, in case you come in at the end. So the idea is for you to have, I have to open it up this way for the moment, for you to come with your creative idea. You know, it's not about, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. And but given that in the first week, we make sure that you have found a way of making it a 9-week project. So you have to have that in mind. It's going to become a 9-week project because that's how long we've got. So you come with your idea, Then we turn it into a 9-week project. So make sure that it's feasible. You know, it can be, and it doesn't matter if you wanted it to be more than 9 weeks. That's not the point, because if you want it to be more than 9 weeks, well, you carry on. But the thing is, you're going to have a 9-week project, and this will do amazing things for your self-confidence, your belief that you can produce something amazing in a relatively short space of time, in great company. It'll be wonderful. So I'm going to show you the page, and then I'm going to go away. So that's it. It's starting in January. It's called the Infinite Creativity Now Masterclass, and it's going to be amazing. Same structure as the photography masterclass, but so I might show it to you, or you know, I might not if it doesn't want to show. Yeah, so it's very nice, very pretty, lots of colours. And so, what are your plans? If you're still here, hanging on, just out of kindness or pity for me, let me know what your creative plans are for next week. Do you have anything in mind? You're gonna create something next week, which you'd like to tell me about? And the page is coming. The page is coming. Right, I'm going to share my screen, and you will see that it looks something like this. So this is what I'm going to start promoting for the next month or so. There's even a picture which hasn't come up yet. And there's a video, it's only about 1.5 minutes, there it is. So Infinite Creativity Now Masterclass, get your creative project done in 9 fun weeks, starts January 2021. And there's a whole load of stuff to read about this. So have fun with that, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. There it is, that's the page. So check that out, and I'll talk to you again very soon. If you want, the next thing I'm doing is a Zoom call on Monday, probably. Times may vary, but normally the plan is I do a Zoom call on Monday where you come on the show, we talk, it's private, it's not recorded, and you talk about one cool thing you're going to do in the next few days. And if you like, you can come back on the Friday show and talk and say what you did. Okay, that's my Zoom call. All right, that's it, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye for now.